Hey guys, I am going to try to clarify a couple of issues that I have had with this throttle mechanism and go through some of the problems that you may see, and I'm going to show you how to fix them more than just what the adjustment is. So here we go. I do have this up and working now. Everything is good, and I'm going to go ahead and prove it to you right now. So right now, if I hold down mode button for a couple extra seconds, oh man, that's horrible. I can hit the button and I do not see, after I'm in diagnostic mode, or sorry, not diagnostic mode, after I hold down mode, you can see I click through here and there is nothing that says anything about diagnostic mode, which means there's no check engine lights on right now. So everything is good, everything is adjusted how it should. Also, notice these contacts are actually closed upon regular idle condition. Now this is different for the older models. So on idle for this model, this is a 2021 850 Sportsman, it is supposed to be closed. So you can see just a little bit of throttle. The first part opens it and you're good. So just to prove that, hit the brake. No check engine light, everything's good, running as it should. Now, I am going to adjust it via these nuts right here, and I'm going to make it out of adjustment and see if we can get that check engine light. I got a couple 8mm wrenches. I'm going to crack the small nut loose, and right now I'm going to act as if it's out of adjustment. So what I'm going to do, I have that all the way turned in, and I'm going to turn this big nut, collapsing the outer casing and basically giving it slack. So as I'm doing that, now you'll see when I hit the pedal, hit the throttle lever, you'll see all this extra slack in it right here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take that to the max. So that's as loose as it can go. All right. So the contacts are still closed at idle, but it has some slop in it. So let's go ahead and see what happens. Trying to actually get the throttle to come up with an error, because this is what it would be if your cable was stretched out. It's got some slack in it. I'm going to go ahead and take it for a ride a little bit, because if it's all stretched out, you should actually end up with an error on it. Put it low. Now you can see it's got some slack in it right there. Certainly more than it should be. Turn it on and see if we got any error codes in it as of right now. Normally, the check engine light up here would turn on. If we go to options, we do not have the diagnostic mode, no check engine light. All right, so now do something a little bit different here. Hoping you guys can actually see this. Now, you can see that this is moving. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take it till all the slack is out. And watch as I'm going to twist this in. You can see it tightening up. In the second you see it stop moving is actually where you want it. So I'm going to do that again. If you want this actually how it should be, I took all the slack out of it first. Now I'm going to back this nut out, expanding these away from each other. And when that stops moving while I'm turning, that is the tension that you actually want on this. Right about there. It stopped moving and yet I was still turning. So that is where it should be. But I'm going to try to show you guys what the errors look like. So you know what? No. We're going to go ahead and lock this here. And I'm going to show you one other thing. If you want it adjusted right, take the slack out of here so that this section right here no longer moves. Tighten up this lock nut, and here's the final check that you want to do. You want to start it up, and you want to listen as you're turning the handlebars back and forth. I get a little bit of a change in sound that direction, but honest, okay, you see that one? I turned the wheel that way, and it was too much. That means that is too tight. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna turn this in about maybe half a turn. Just with my finger, I'm gonna lighten this back up. Now we're gonna turn the wheel again. Nothing. That's what you want. You want it no tighter than it needs to be, and you should be able to turn the wheel and the RPM should not change. But that's not what we're trying to do here. So that's how it should be. But I'm going to show you what an error code actually does look like. See how I loosened that up, or I opened it up? I don't have an error code yet, but if you keep tightening it, do you see what just happened there? I opened these up too far, and now we got a check engine light on right there. Go ahead and I'm gonna turn it off. I'm gonna show you what codes those are. It pops right up immediately, says there's one. I'm gonna hold down mode. Hit down one to diagnostic code. Hit enter on there, and there's our first code. I believe the number on the top tells you what this code is doing. The number on the bottom is the count, how many times that happened in this key cycle. So if you turn this off, turn it back on, it's always going to pop up 1 because it knows that this isn't in the right position. It's already too tight, something's going on there. So this is what I had. I had this happening and the code just popped up. But, oops, I guess I didn't need to do that. But if you tighten this in and adjust it how it should be, it's immediately going to go away. And that's what I couldn't find anybody on any forums telling me. I kept wondering if I had to hold some keys down to set this right. And then to clear that, I unhooked the battery and all sorts of stuff, and it would never clear that check engine light or that diagnostic code. It will clear itself if you have everything set up right. So, like I said, I have some slack in it. By slack, I mean this section here. I'm going to pull it out so the slack's out. I'm going to adjust these to loosen it up. I'm going to watch for it to just stop. That just stopped right there. You'll take this lock nut with two 8mm wrenches, tighten those up right there. And you'll see that that light immediately went off. Go into the mode, options, you'll see there's not the diagnostic code. So as soon as you have it set correctly, you are good. So finally, once you've tightened those, start it up one more time. Turn the wheel both directions. If the RPM does not go up when you turn the wheel and you're not getting the check engine light, then you should be good. Once again, that contact should be closed for these newer models. There's a lot of bad info out there on the newer ones. People saying put a zip tie in place between these contacts and then you don't have to worry about a check engine light. I am just going to put one in here just to show you guys what happens when you do that on these newer models. All right, zip tie in there. It can't have connections. Start it off. You hear that backfiring such? I believe that could end up being no, it actually didn't quite have it with that in there. I thought it would have, but it did not. So apparently you can have the zip tie in there and it will still do okay, at least for these idle positions. If you're trying to bypass the throttle to do something funny. This is good info to know, just for everyone's knowledge. So just gonna go ahead and try this, back it out, take it for a little bit of drive with the zip tie in place. Alright, so apparently if you want, you can put the zip tie in there and that will also help it. However, if you do put the zip tie in there, please remember that it is going to eliminate the stuck throttle safety feature to that. I will also tell you that I purchased a off-brand throttle mechanism body here, and it did not work. It was a niche brand, N-I-C-H-E, and although the build quality was quite good, the resistance between those top two connections was bad, and it kept throwing different engine codes. So I'm trying to show you how to pull this out. So in the event that you're trying to troubleshoot something, you can stick a screwdriver up into this hole, into the bottom here, and there's a little tab under there. If you pry on it just a little bit while gently pulling on these wires, it will release this clip right there. Hold tight, let me see if I can do it. If you stick a screwdriver in the bottom of that, you can get this connector out. So furthermore, if you're trying to figure out how to do that, that's how you do that. And it just pushes back in there. Well, you know what? Let's go ahead and see how this operates or what it does. I'm betting if you run this without these connected, that you're probably going to have a check engine light for these switches, because these are the bottom 3 or 4 prongs. So let's just see what happens on there. Yep, immediately check engine light. Let's see what we got there. I have a couple different ones. Yep, different code right there. So I'm gonna turn it off, plug this back in, turn this back on. Check engine light went through its thing. I'll hold this back down. Yep, hard to see it on the screen here, but there is not the diagnostic check engine light anymore, so it automatically clears. So FYI on that. Once things are right per these controls, they just work. So hopefully that helps somebody, because I could not find that information. So enjoy.